So we have, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So at the outset, good morning to all the distinguished professors, respected scholars, and dear participants. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you to this faculty development program on narratives of change, reimagining English language and literature as a mirror of cultural and intellectual transformation in NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047, organized by Department of Language, Culture, and Society in collaboration with Department of Linguistics, Tetsuo College, Dimapur, Nagaland. Today, we have gathered to explore an emerging and timely discourse, one that positions English language and literature not merely as academic subjects, but as powerful instruments that reflect and shape the evolving aspirations of our nation. As India steps confidently towards the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, the National Education Policy 2020 calls upon all of us to rethink how language, culture, and knowledge systems align with this transformative journey. I'm sure this FDP is designed to help us engage with that very shift. Through the sessions that follow, we will examine how literary studies can respond to new educational paradigms, how language learning can foster global competence rooted in Indian values, and how critical inquiry can contribute to building an intellectually vibrant and culturally confident nation. I sincerely thank each one of you for joining us and for showing your interest in this forward-looking conversation. I encourage you to stay engaged throughout the program and contribute your insights, as your perspectives will be invaluable in shaping the academic directions of the future. Let us begin this journey of reflection, reimagination, and renewal together by lighting the lamp. Thank you all. I now invite our HOD, Dr. L. Kavita Nair, who has experience with more than 25 years in the field of teaching, who has got experience by working abroad, and who is an expert in PBL, bringing literature through project-based learning, showing how language can be exhibited through project-based learning. And she is really doing a tremendous job at our university here. We now invite her to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Ramya. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to everyone. It gives me, great pleasure to welcome you all to the inauguration of our 6-day online faculty development program on narratives of change, reimagining English language and literature as a mirror of cultural and intellectual transformation through NEP 2020 to the lens of NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047. So on behalf of the Department of Language, Culture and Society, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, in collaboration with the Department of Linguistics, Tetsuo College, Nagaland, I extend a heartfelt welcome to all our dignitaries, speakers, faculty participants, and research scholars who have joined us from across the country. We are deeply honored to have with us today our chief guest, Dr. Karunesh Saxena. Warm welcome to you, sir. Vice Chancellor, Sangam University, Rajasthan, and our guest of honor, Dr. Hivasa L. King, Principal, Tetsu College, Nagaland. Your gracious presence sets a remarkable tone for the academic discourse we hope to appreciate through this program. Now, I'd just like to have a few words on our department. So the Department of Language, Culture and Society is a dynamic interdisciplinary center that explores the connections between language, literature, communication, and culture in today's globalized and technologically driven world. Rooted in SRMIST's vision of holistic education, the department integrates language learning, cultural literacy, humanistic inquiry to complement the university's strong foundation in science and technology. We offer a wide range of courses in English and foreign languages, including Spanish, Japanese, Korean, German, French, Chinese, Russian, and other global languages following the stream, alongside initiatives that promote Indian languages, multilingual communication, and cultural studies. And it is led by a team of dedicated teachers, scholars, native speakers, and language technologists. I would like to call them language technologists, positioning SRMIST as a leader in integrating language, culture, and technology to shape the global citizens of tomorrow. Now, about the FDP, Dr. Ramya has already given us a brief on that. Yes. Dear participants, could you kindly mute your videos? Thank you. So about the FDP, Dr. Ramya has already given us a brief, just to add a little more flesh to it. So this faculty development program has been conceived at a time when India envisions its journey towards Viksit Bharat 2047. The National Education Policy 2020 calls upon educators to foster a learning ecosystem that is interdisciplinary, inclusive, and rooted in Indian values, while being globally relevant. Within this framework, language and literature emerge as, almost transformative forces that not only mirror society, but also shape the narratives of our future. So through this 6-day FDP, we seek to reimagine English studies, to view language and literature as catalysts for cultural, intellectual, and pedagogical transformation. So over the coming days, we will be engaging with an array of renowned scholars from IIT Madras, JNU, FLU Hyderabad, NEHU Shillong, Nagaland University, Jadavpur University, Guwahati University, and other premier institutions. So their diverse perspectives will guide us in linking linguistic study and literary imagination with national development, ethical reasoning, and most importantly, sustainability. So our collaboration with Tetsuo College Nagaland reflects SRMIST's commitment to inclusive partnerships that connect institutions across India. This joint effort exemplifies our shared belief that language education is not a boundary, but a bridge, uniting regions, cultures, and academic practices. I'd like to take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to our founder chancellor, Dr. T.R. Parivendu sir, our vice chancellor, Dr. C. Muttamil Shelvan, our registrar, Dr. S. Ponusami, and our dean, Dr. Linus Martin sir, and our chairperson, Dr. Ardhana Rishuri, for their continued encouragement and for creating an enabling environment where language, cultural society, culture, and scholarship thrive together. So in conclusion, this FDP is an invitation to every one of you who's logged into this 6-day online FDP to reflect, to rediscover, and to redesign how we engage with language and learning, the L square. So as we discover, discuss, and disseminate, may this 6 days inspire all of us to carry forward the vision of NEP 2020 into our classrooms, research, and intellectual pursuits. So once again, I warmly welcome each one of you and look forward to a deeply enriching, engaging, interactive academic journey on the 6 days. So thank you very much and wish every participant have a fantastic listening and research time together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that introduction of welcome address. I now take the privilege to introduce our distinguished resource person, Professor Dr. Karunesh Saxena, an eminent academic leader with over 35 years of experience in teaching, research, and university administration. He is currently the President and Vice Chancellor of Sangam University, Bhilwara, where his visionary leadership has transformed the institution through strategic models such as RISE, GROW, LEAP, and LEAP 2.0, significantly enhancing research output, student quality, and institutional growth. Under his stewardship, the university achieved remarkable strides in enrollment, faculty motivation, and global collaborations. Professor Saxena has also played a pivotal role in shaping national education policy as a UGC-nominated member of high-power NEP 2020 committees, contributing to frameworks such as NHEQF, Multiple Entry Exit, and PhD Regulations 2022. His international engagements include assignments in Sri Lanka, Papua New Guinea, Kazakhstan, and conference contributions across the globe. He has been a celebrated trainer and a strategist who has conducted over 6,000 plus executives and delivered 15,000 plus lectures across India, making him one of the most respected voices in higher education reforms today. Sir, we are honored to have you with us to enrich our discussions on narratives of change and guide us towards a future-ready academic vision. Sir, we request you to deliver the inaugural address.
A very good afternoon to all of you. My sincere regards to Professor Kavita Nair, Dr. S. Ramya, and our guest from Nagaland, Dr. Hesa, all dear participants. It was nearly a decade ago that I had the opportunity of visiting SRM, Chennai, and I was greatly impressed with the infrastructure as well as the ethos of the institute. I'm really glad to be a part of this 6 days online FDP. And I'll also have a session with the participants on 26th of November in the evening time. And there I'll be speaking on linking the writings of Devdutt Pattanaik with IKS traditions of our glorious country. At this juncture of inaugural function, I wish to congratulate and compliment the organizers for having chosen such a wonderful theme, which is truly multidisciplinary as well. Like your department is, Professor Nair, you were mentioning that Department of English Language, Culture and Society. So that gives me great satisfaction because I was part of the NEP committees at the national level. And so we had envisioned the multidisciplinary education, and you are living it. You are practicing it. So I'm really happy. And secondly, the kind of topic that you have chosen for this 6 days online FDP, that also has a lot of multidisciplinary aspects involved into it. And if I wish to, because as a part of the inaugural address, it is my humble task to decode the topic for the benefit of the participants. So if I may do so, then first we talk about narratives of change. And so somewhere I read that there is only one thing permanent in this world, that is change, meaning thereby that nothing is permanent. So everything around us is changing. And I'm also reminded of my granddaughter who came to me, and she was going through this Alice in Wonderland. And so she asked me, Nanu, this is what is going on in this novel. Can you explain to me? So then it was very interesting that the best friend of Alice, the main character in the novel, the best friend was asking, okay, what should I do? So Alice says that run as fast as you can. And so the friend asks, why? So Alice replies that to stay where you are. Run as fast as you can to stay where you are. That is the mandate of change. This is the narrative of change. And we all are living it, because a few decades ago, we had not thought about artificial intelligence in the manner as we are doing now. And it is too early but still we find the likes of Sundaram Pichai is saying that the AI bubble may burst. And so it could be quite akin to the internet bubble, which had a problem in the late 90s and early part of this century. So I think that this first aspect of narratives of change, which is there. Then the secondly, very interesting word you have mentioned is reimagining. Now, reimagining reminds me of another wonderful book by Nandan Nilekani, which talks about reimagining India. And such a powerful piece of writing that Nandan Nilekani was borrowed from, I am using the term borrowed from Infosys and taken up at the center, and where he was given the responsibility of setting up UIDAI and the concept of Aadhaar card, which is now become the backbone of our existence actually. This concept of Aadhaar card came out of this book of Reimagining India only. So I'm trying to highlight that this is the power of English literature and English language. Then when we are talking about English language, then I feel that the Indian youth have got the respect all over the world because of two reasons. One is that our young population is very proficient in English. I mean, the large chunk of it. And secondly, we are very good in mathematics. And so if the youngsters are good in maths as well as English, then this can be a wonderful combination for taking them to the success. So all over the world, I have worked and traveled to so many countries and worked in so many countries. Everywhere I found that the Indian students and Indian youth and Indian academicians are greatly respected, mainly because of these two factors. And the byproduct of it is that we have become IT superpower also. During my formative years in college, there are so many authors whom I read in English, language and English, so much of English literature that I read, which formed my personality also. Namely, I would like to say the autobiography of our father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, My Experiments with Truth. Then also Discovery of India by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Then later on, I had the chance to read Midnight Children by Salman Rushdie. And for the current population, those who find it difficult, I mean, I am from Hindi belt, and so some of our students find it difficult to read English books and all. So I encourage them to at least go to Chetan Bhagat's writing, because Chetan Bhagat has done a great job of popularizing English language among the young population by writing in a very simple style. Then you have also talked about mirror. So mirror in the sense that when I was studying in school, that time itself, my Hindi teacher told me that Sahitya Samaj ka darpan hai. That is, literature is the mirror of society. So whatever is happening around in the society, that is being depicted in the literature. But now the relationship has become symbiotic. That sometimes what is being written is happening in the society. So it is affecting both ways. So this is again wonderful expression that you have used in your topic of mirror. Finally, because I have been involved in NEP 2020, so you have also linked your topic with this, and I feel that NEP 2020 will help us regaining our lost glory of Vishwaguru. Because you remember that when we were Vishwaguru, that time India was considered as Sone ki Chidiya, the golden bird. And also it was said that कि यहाँ दूध की नदियाँ बहती थी. There were rivers of milk flowing around the country. So I feel that wherever the intellectual supremacy is there, the economic prowess will come. The economic supremacy will also come. So I feel that this NEP 2020 has the great potential of reinstating us as the Vishwaguru, and at the same time that we will also become Viksit Bharat by 2047. That is what is the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister is. And also I want to tell you that India has a great demographic advantage.
Be ready.
We are 1.49 billion right now. Our population is expected to rise to 1.70 billion by 2060. The current demographic advantage is that our 65% of population is in the range of working population of 16 to 59. The dependency ratio is very nice in the sense that 70% of the population is supporting only 30% of the young infants as well as elderly people. So these demographics are indicating that if India has to become Viksit Bharat, then this is the time to start building our nation, because I am afraid that by 2041, this demographic advantage will slip away from us, like it has been in the case of Japan and China. That is the reason why we have been able to overpower them. So I have my own deep thoughts on how we can, what kind of roadmap India should adopt in becoming Viksit Bharat by 2047. But at this juncture, I'll cut short my speech by again complimenting the organizers for the choice of this particular topic, and a very enthusiastic group of participants are there. So many learned speakers will be there to enlighten you throughout this 6 days FDP. In my case, I will expect more and more interaction during that 1 hour session that I'm going to take on the writings of Devdutt Pattanaik. But thanks for giving me this opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. When we titled this FDP, we did not even, it never came to our mind that this title would be broken up to this extent and explained. So we are really happy on that note. As you said, yes, literature mirrors life. I already introduced that our HOD introduced something called as PVL to the college. And I'd like to connect with what you said to that concept. We never thought that SDG 17 goals can be connected to literature. Actually, all these 17 goals or SDG is already there in the Indian soil, but we have never named it as sustainable goals. So through this PBL, we were able to connect the sustainable development goals and bring it with connect it with literature. So that was really a very big achievement for our department, because we also have this international conference which happens related to SDG. Every now and then, whenever they conduct, they give our department as an example to say that 17 goals was connected through literature. So we thought this FDP also should be related to our nation's vision. On that note, our entire department worked on this. And thank you so much, sir, for giving us a wonderful inaugural address on this topic. And now I request Dr. Yansubeni to welcome our special guest.
Okay, good afternoon, each and everyone. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Hewesa Alking, the principal of Tetsuo College Dimapur. Dr. Hewesa represents the strong and growing role of women in academic leadership, inspiring students as well as scholars through her work and her vision. So she, along with the Department of Linguistics, Tetsuo College, has wholeheartedly welcomed our collaboration and supported us in making this event possible. So with great pleasure, I invite Dr. Hewesa Alking to deliver the inaugural special address. Ma'am, the platform is yours.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and respected Professor Kavita Nair L, the head of Department of Language, Culture and Society, SRM, Institute of Science and Technology, our esteemed inaugural speaker, Professor Dr. Karunesh Saxena, the VC of Sangam University, distinguished faculty and participants. First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Yansubeni, for the lovely introduction. I'm truly honored. I'm really thankful to be a part of this FDP and for this opportunity to speak a few words at the inaugural of this highly significant faculty development program on the theme of narratives of change, reimagining English language and literature as a mirror of cultural and intellectual transformation through the lens of NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047. Tetsuo College is extremely delighted to be collaborating with our SRM Institute of Science and Technology on an initiative so crucial to Academia Nagaland and India as a whole. Just a brief note about Tetsuo College before I go any further. Tetsuo College was established in 1994, and it is a NAAC accredited institution registered with AICTE, affiliated to Nagaland University and recognized under sections 2F and 12B of the UGC Act. Tetsuo College is positioned in a vibrant commercial hub of Dimapur, Chimukadima, which is the gateway between Northeast India and Southeast Asia. Our strategic location offers unparalleled connectivity with easy access to Upper Assam, Manipur, Myanmar, and we have direct flights and train links to Kolkata and Delhi, making us the educational nucleus of the region. Tetsuo College is a top-ranked institution shaping the future leaders of the region and beyond. As a premier multidisciplinary PG college, we offer world-class education that's infused with a rich cultural tapestry and renowned hospitality of Nagaland. Some of the popular undergraduate programs include BBA, BCA, Bachelor's of Music, Bachelor's in Mass Communication, including the Bachelor's of Arts in Linguistics, and a range of other PG programs. Our curriculum here is grounded in digital learning and via the Google for Education. We have industry internships as well, community outreach, and robust research projects going on. Our strong industry collaborations with corporate, government, and NGO partners provide opportunities for our students. And our active institution innovation cell has incubated over 30 student-led startups. As for the faculty development program, I strongly believe that this serves as a very practical and positive step towards actualizing the Viksit Bharat vision of 2047, firmly rooted in the principles of the National Education Policy 2020. Education, as we all know, is the irrefutable hallmark of development in India and so essential towards a progressive nation. The central message of this faculty development program, I hope, is to align our teaching practices with the spirit of NEP and, of course, the 4 foundational pillars of Viksit Bharat: the youth, the poor, women, and farmers. So I hope that this program will enable all attendees to think much more deeply about the vital role that you all play as educators. As educators, I believe that you're all directly shaping the youth, also empowering women, and uplifting the poor in your classrooms, thereby generating a significant and positive and also indirect impact on the lives of our nation's farmers. The core aim of this FDP is very clear, as already stated in the concept note, to empower us to redesign curricula, integrate critical and creative thinking, and adopt transformative approaches in teaching English language and literature. We aim to cultivate reflective, research-oriented, and culturally sensitive educators through this FDP, educators who will actively contribute to India's intellectual and holistic development. As a student of cultural studies myself, I find the theme reimagining English language and literature as a mirror of cultural and intellectual transformation particularly compelling. This approach allows us to move beyond conventional studies and to steer English language and literature through the powerful lens of cultural studies as well. And this shift provides conceptual tools needed to move simply
Ma'am?
politics and power. Yes, I hope you can hear.
Was that a lag? Ma'am, I think there was a lag. I think we lost you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear us, ma'am?
This shift to cultural studies provides the conceptual tools, I believe, that are needed to move beyond cultural phenomena. This FDP will help us, enable us to analyze, interpret, and develop comprehensive frameworks to study the complex relationship of language with society, politics, and power, critically explaining how and why the narratives function
Ma'am.
Um, hello, Wisham sir.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
like at the end of her talk, we lost her. So is she?
Let's just give a few seconds. I hope she'll reconnect,
Okay, sir.
please.
I just logged in. I'm just logged in, but where are we now? Hello, I'm so sorry. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, yes.
I'm so sorry for the connectivity. It's not so good today. But let me just sum up from here then. I'm sorry for making you all wait, but I'll just sum up here. But I think the program planned for this FDP covers a very good range of topics covering linguistics, oral literature, curricular design, and also integrates indigenous knowledge, which I was very impressed with, cultural narratives, and their relation to a very responsive literature pedagogy. The depth of the curriculum here also with the focus on transforming English language education is truly impressive. I sincerely believe that the attendees who approach this FDP with its true intent will realize two major benefits. Number one being the immediate classroom impact. The attendees, I believe, will acquire and readily incorporate beneficial and transformative practices directly into the classrooms. And number two, the long-term research engagement. The program, I believe, offers ample scope for deep research-worthy intellectual engagement that will inspire faculty to pursue new lines of inquiry and contribute meaningful scholarship to the fields of language, literature, and cultural studies. This FDP is not just professional development, but it is truly an investment in generating the next wave of reflective scholars and educators that are vital to the Viksit Bharat mission. Once again, thank you for this opportunity, and I would like to wish all the attendees a very productive and meaningful session for the next few days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that informative special address on TETSO as well as the FDP. So the way you explained, narrated your place, it's like you made us visualize, and we also traveled equally with you to Dimapur. Thank you for that introduction, ma'am. And yes, with this, we come to the close of this inaugural session. I wish to extend a heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speakers, esteemed professors, research scholars, and all participants who has joined us today. Now, before I conclude, I just request all of you to turn on your camera for a minute so that I'll take a screenshot.
Unless you want to wait for
Thank you very much for that. This session has set a perfect tone for our FDP on narratives of change, reimagining English language and literature as a mirror of cultural and intellectual transformation in NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047. This idea shared today reminds us that we are not just teaching language or literature, we are nurturing critical thinkers, cultural interpreters, and nation builders. I sincerely thank our resource persons for enlightening us with the insights that will surely guide our discussions in the sessions ahead. A special thanks to everyone who worked behind the scenes to make this inaugural event meaningful and seamless. As we move forward, I encourage all participants to stay engaged, contribute actively, and make the most of the learning and dialogue that this FDP has to offer. Together, let us strengthen our collaborative understanding and reimagine the role of humanities in shaping the future of Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you all once again for your presence and your time and your commitment. With this, we formally conclude the inaugural session. Let us reconvene for the upcoming sessions as scheduled. Participants, actually, our speaker for session 1 joined this link at 11:30 itself. So he is with us. So we will start the session maybe within 5 minutes once we get the permission from him. You can stay online. We'll just get back to him, talk with him, and then we'll be here. We'll start the session here. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Karnesh sir. Thank you, Principal ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, a warm welcome to everyone present here. And on behalf of the Department of Language, Culture and Society, we once again welcome you to this online FTP. So we will be starting with our day one, session one, and our speaker is already here. So today we have Professor S.K. Singh with us, and it is my honor to welcome our distinguished speaker for this inaugural, for this session, Professor S.K. Singh, who will be speaking on a very highly significant topic, that is restoring linguistic Swaraj for Viksit Bharat. So Professor S.K. Singh is a distinguished linguist and a professor in the Department of Linguistics at Northeastern Hill University, Shillong. He is renowned for his work in social linguistics, multilingualism, and the languages of Northeast India. He has also served in several key administrative roles, including the head of department at NEHU, coordinator, warden, as well as academic coordinator and principal investigators for several projects such as mission translation research and linguistics landscaping studies as well. So he is a very well recognized figure in the Indian linguistics, and he is known for proposing theoretical concepts such as linguistics, word order, deep multilingualism, and alternative social linguistics. So he is an active media writer as well, who contributes actively to newspapers as well as online platforms, both in English and Hindi. So we are honored to have Professor S.K. Singh with us today. He will deliver a talk on restoring linguistic Swaraj for Viksit Bharat. Sir, we are privileged to have you here with us today. I now invite you to take the session. Sir, your mic is muted.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me. And it's really my privilege to be part of this academic session. And the Department of Language, Culture and Society seems to be a very unique one in this country. We do have Department of Linguistics, language technology, translation technology, but I think for the first time, the Department of Language, Culture and Society. So I do believe that there will be always a happy marriage between language expert, the cultural activist, and the sociologist. The topic of Viksit Bharat seems to be very interesting, as well as something which is demanding in the sense in the present situation in the 21st century, we need such discussion very seriously. But that is not only the academic initiative, but it also, if you look at it very deeply and we go and engage ourselves, it requires a kind of commitment. And if I have to say what kind of commitment the group of the people have at your institution, and I will try to explain it with a very famous quote from Tulsidas Ramayana. And I will try to translate it, but at the same time, let me read it, and which says, Sadhu Charita Subh Charita Kapasu. That's from Ramayana. Tulsidas says, if you are really committed towards your nation, your character has to be like, the sadhu, and the basic characteristic of sadhu is like sadhu charita subha charita kapasu, means it's like a plant of cotton. Tulsidas says, it's not that I am saying the one who is serving the nation and who is trying to make this country as a Viksit Bharat. It's basically a mission which we have to take forward in 21st century. And that is why I'm saying, so your role institutional level is basically it's a sadhu charita subh charita kapas, means the character of those who are involved in building the nation. It's like sadhu, and the character of sadhu is like the character of kapas, the cotton. And why it is so? It is simply because if you look at the kapas, the cotton, that is why Tulsidas says, Nirad Bisad Gunmay Phalajas. The fruit of cotton, is, it's not full of juice. It's something which is tasteless. But it is full of merit. I'm trying to say is that those who all are involved in building the nation and transforming this Bharat as a Viksit Bharat in 21st century, and that we all are like sadhu, and we will certainly do the needful. Now the question is, what we have to discuss, and I really appreciate the department for taking such topic and bringing the people of linguistics background, culture background, and from the social background together, and that is very meaningful in the sense, because we can come forward together and build this nation, and that could be Viksit Bharat by 2047. But does it mean that India was not Viksit? And if we look at that question seriously, then we have to go back and look at our own history. But as a student of linguistics, I would say that India was Viksit once upon a time. And India has also played a transformative role in the field of linguistics. Perhaps I would like to begin with a quote from a very famous, not a linguist, but from historian, Rensburg. And what he says, it's very interesting. It is often said that all learning, please listen it carefully. He says, it is often said that all learning and science begin in Greek. Not doubt a study of language. Not doubt the study of language. The history of linguistics begins not with Plato and Aristotle, but with Indian grammarian Panini. Now, if you look at this sentence, and if we try to understand the deep meaning behind it, it shows that the way India has contributed in the field of linguistics, and that is something very amazing, and we should be proud of that. But when it happened in 5th century BC. So let me tell you in the chronology, friends. In linguistics, we are often told that there are 4 major breakthroughs in linguistics. There are 4 major breakthroughs in linguistics, and first major breakthrough in linguistics started in India. And that was in 5th century BC. And anyone has doubt can remember this sentence. It is often said that all learning and science begin in Greek. We take it for granted that yes, there was a great civilization, Greek civilization, but at the same time, in this part of the world, there was a great civilization, and that was the civilization of Bharat. The point here is, today we are talking about Viksit Bharat in 21st century. That means this century belongs to us, but today we don't own linguistics. But the second major breakthrough in linguistics, which also emerged from India, and for that credit goes to William Jones. And his formulation, if we look at William Jones' contribution in the field of linguistics, and also in the field of language and literature, it was a major breakthrough. And we often call that this was a major breakthrough in the field of linguistics, because before that, we often believed that, the language is a creation of God. And perhaps the whole Western world believed that, the language which we practice, probably it has come from somewhere from the one from the nature, and we did believe that the human role was minimum in that. So it was basically William Jones, for the first time, when he was talking about his formulation in India, and that happened in Calcutta, and that was a second major breakthrough, and that we have to remember. What did he say? That is something very interesting. He was
Sir, your mic.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. If you look at the William Jones formulation, he was basically trying to connect Sanskrit, Greek and Latin together, and he was the one who tried to propose the theory of language family. But he was honest. He was honest in many sense, because he was basically impressed by the contribution of Sanskrit scholars, and also the beauty of Sanskrit, that impressed him. And he was talking about the notion of origin of language, that was a kind of major breakthrough. The third major breakthrough which took place, and that was in Europe, and it was around the First World War. You can ask me a question, why I'm talking about the first major breakthrough and the second major breakthrough, because we have to see the continuity. When we are trying to become a Viksit Bharat, do we need to own linguistics as well, which we have done in the past? So 1786 formulation, which William Jones gave at Asiatic Society, And he talked about the idea of common source. But while saying this, he was basically trying to say that Sanskrit language is a wonderful language. And it is more perfect than Greek, and so as even more refined than Latin. And basically, he was trying to say that there is a kind of relationship, and that has to be established between these languages, and therefore his idea was taken forward, but that has gone into wrong direction that we will talk about. But the third major breakthrough which took in Europe, and that was by Fanadi Shashur, when he was talking about the arbitrariness, and he was talking about langue, parole, synchronic, diachronic, am I right? Syntagmatic, paradigmatic, and signified and signified. And that gave a birth of modern linguistics, but that happened in Europe. So look at, it was Europe who conquered the linguistic world, and that happened towards the beginning of, that happened in 1916, when the linguistics became so-called modern linguistics. But the next major breakthrough, which is very alarming, and linguistics moves from Europe to America, and in 1955 onwards, it was Noam Chomsky who basically created a kind of revolution in the field of linguistics. And then linguistics basically moved towards America, and it was America of those days after 1950s, which dominated the linguistic world order. Now, you can ask me a question. Why I am giving this chronology? And there is a reason for that. Because once upon a time, starting from 5th century BC, we were the masters in the field of linguistics. And not only in the 5th century, if you look at the chronology, till 7th century AD, if you look at the history of this country, the history of Great Bharat, I think we were master in the field of linguistics till 7th century AD. Even what the second major breakthrough we are talking about, which was inspired by the William Jones, which happened in India, but basically inspired by the Indian languages and the contribution of India in the field of linguistics. Whereas the third one, even the Fanadi Shashur, was a great Sanskrit scholar. He was a great Sanskrit scholar, but after 1950s, we had no control over, and then linguistics finally moves towards America, and USA becomes the leader, and then we have no control. France, today we are in 21st century, and India is again becoming Dhanwan, becoming or moving towards becoming the developed nation. Therefore, should we own linguistics now? That is the question. And the simple answer to that question is yes. We have to become leader in the field of linguistics today. But the question is, what we should do now, and where do we go from here, unless we draw a roadmap, it would be not possible for us to move forward, because unless we look for alternative linguistics, unless we move towards what we call the alternative sociolinguistics, we may not be in position to dominate the linguistics world, or if you look at the linguistic habitat of India, which is a country. If you look at the linguistic habitat of India, which is a country having 19,569 raw return of mother tongue. Now look at the beauty of this country. India is not only a multilingual country, India is basically a deep multilingual country. India is a deep multilingual country. And if you look at the census data, what it talks about says India is a country where 19,569 raw returns of mother tongue recorded. Friends, let me tell you, these are not mother tongues. These are not so-called dialects of the language. These are not so-called languages, but what the term is given is basically the raw return of mother tongue you will not find in any part of the world. Similarly, if you move forward, what it says, there are 1369 rationalized mother tongues. 1300, plus rationalized mother tongue, and 1474 called 1474 were labeled as other tongues, or what is called the unclassified varieties or the mother tongue of languages. Even if you go by that, that number, what happens? There's something which is very interesting, and that we have to debate now. Even more than 15,000 varieties, the raw return of mother tongues which were tabulated, not considered. Now the question is, when we are thinking of transforming India as a Viksit Bharat, what could be our role as a student of linguistics? And our role as a student of linguistics is going to be, a kind of a journey that we have to take forward and make this nation great again. But the question is, what has happened and where we have gone wrong, and that we have to discuss seriously. Now look at what William Jones has said in 1786. Can we go by that? No. What Fanadi Shashur had said in 1916, can we go by that? No. What Chomsky has talked in 1950s should be accepted, and the simple answer is no. Now the question is, what do we do if we want to again become a leader in the field of linguistics? But the first thing what we have to do is that as a student of linguistics, we have to think about those words or those concepts which have entered in the field of linguistics we have to basically evaluate that and have to come up with new ideas, and those ideas have to be taken seriously. So friends, what I'm trying to say is that if you look at the terms which are used in the field of linguistics or which have been imported in the field of linguistics, which we have taken it seriously, do not fit into our linguistic habitat. Term like minority language, term like majority language, term like endangered languages, term like vernacular languages. These terms which have been imported, I think we have to look at seriously and debate on that. Because those terms, those borrowed ideas do not fit into our linguistic situation, and therefore we have to think about our own ideas. Therefore, the term like what we often come across like Indo-Aryan, Dravidian, tribal, minority, vernacular, classical, seems to be not neutral description of language. And therefore, we need to debate on that, because these are not neutral concepts. If these are not neutral concepts, why do we take as it is as imported notions in the 21st century, when India is trying to become India is becoming a Viksit Bharat? So these terms which came or which were imported from the Western world, trying to disunite the society in many ways in a country like India. And I will give you the example. Therefore, as a student of linguistics, what we have to do, we have moral responsibility to go further. And let me put it in another way. And I will say that our role is, let me read it. I will try to translate it. And I will tell you in this way. Sui dhaga sujan jan bilgat det mila. Let me translate it. Sui means needle. Dhaga means thread. Sui dhaga sujan means the noble human being. And what is the duty of these three things? Sui, which is needle, dhaga, which is thread, and noble human being is the one, the man is the Sujan Jan, who is a good human being. What they do? Even they can unite the people who are basically fragmented. Am I right? Those who are, these three things, Sui, Dhaga, Sujan Jan, Bilgat De Tamila, even they are fragmented, they can unite. Yeah, and that's true. I was talking about the kapas, the cotton, is the sui, the thread, and is the thread and the needle, and the human being can unite the people together, make nation great again. But alternatively, what happens? Kutil katarni kapti jan milat det bilga. Kutil means the person who is very clever in the sense. Katarni is basically Caesar, and Kapti and Kutil and Kapti is two types of person. The clever and the dishonest person can even make people to separate even if you are united. Now look at the things. So in the Viksit Bharat, when we are talking about, we have to understand these two mantras and we have to take it very seriously. Why I'm saying this? Because when we talk about those important notions, which are basically colonial assumptions, which are full of political motives, they are ideologically loaded, and they are basically borrowed categories. In the Viksit, in the journey of Viksit Bharat, we cannot take them as it is, but which are imported from somewhere else. No, because if we go by what these ideas are, which are basically colonial in assumptions. So what I'm trying to say is that in 21st century, where we are moving towards becoming developed culture, I think we need to decolonize our mind. So the first thing, in this journey of Viksit Bharat, we have to decolonize our mind. And that is why I started my talk from the Panini itself. Because friends, let me tell you, the contribution we have made in the field of linguistics is much more superior than the Western world in the past. Can we do it now? But if we want to do it now, first we have to decolonize our mind. Many of us may not like it. What does it mean when we talk about decolonizing the mind? What I'm trying to say here is that we have to go by our lived linguistic reality. Let's not believe in what has been said and what we have imported. Because why I'm saying this? When Panini wrote his grammar, which he wrote in 5th century BC, and that's the only grammar which has not yet been questioned. Which has not been criticized even till today. And perhaps this is the grammar which still creates a kind of so much enthusiasm in the field of computer science, language, linguistics, and other things. But that time, we were not colonized in that sense. That is what I'm saying. So if this department has taken this topic, I think I really appreciate the organizer. That you are the right people to lead, and also you can bring us together. And if we look at the basic mantras of new education policy, I think it is loaded with 3 mantras. And those mantras are: India should be transformed as indigenous global knowledge hub. That's one. So the first thing is about transformation. The second is, if we close our eyes and look at the basic mantras of new education policy. It's that India should restore its glory as a Biswaguru. Many may have objection with the term Biswaguru and so forth, but it's not that we are dreaming, but it's basically we are looking forward, and at the same time we are going back and getting inspiration from there and making ourselves ready for 21st century and to lead the world again, to become the Biswaguru. And the third point, which is the third mantra of, when we talk about the Viksit Bharat, is that India should be promoted as a superpower in the field of technology. Now look at, friends. The first mantra is transformation, then restoring, and third one is promotion. Department of Language, Culture and Society, or in collaboration with other departments, when we are discussing about Viksit India, I think we have a vision now. And the vision, the 3 pillars, which I could see on the, the brochure itself, NEP 2020, I think these 3 pillars, the one is which stands for transformation, restoration, and promotion. But will it happen with the help of others? And the simple answer is no, it cannot. If we want to become great again, or if we want to restore our glory as Viksit Bharat, we have to move forward, and such decisive or the important ideologies have to be discarded, and we have to come up with our own. We have to come up with our own idea, and therefore we can move towards our own linguistics. So look at here, the point here is the growing debate on linguistic conflict, or the identity-based politics. If we want to become again Viksit, in that sense, therefore, there's something which is very important, friends. Let's come up with the idea of Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar. The Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar. This means the Indian language family. I'm talking, if we want to be a part of Viksit Bharat, we have to be a family. And in that sense, even Rig Veda proclaimed thousands years ago. And what it says, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Badanti. It's very, very, very powerful. It's very, very powerful. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Badanti. Truth is one. The wise express it in many ways. So what is truth? The truth is India was a great nation. Bharat was great. I don't think there is any debate on that. But it's not that it has happened only in one pocket of this country. Even if you go back to other parts of the, wherever you go, in the southern part, we had a great grammarian like Toka. So what we are debating here is that we have to move forward for making this nation again great. And if that has to be done, sincerely, friends, I think we have to own linguistics. And therefore, something which is very, very important is that we have to understand our own strength, because India is not only a multilingual country. India is basically a deep multilingual country. So many of us, when we think that we are divided in terms of political boundaries, basically we fail to understand ourselves. Because some of the boundaries which we have created, we have to understand the basic essence of the linguistic boundaries. And let me tell you, the one person who has understood the linguistic reality of this country is George Grierson himself. And what he says, if we look at, we often try to create a hard boundary, linguistic boundaries. But that's not the case in Indian context. What did Grierson say? And he said in 1920 that in his work, which he says, most Indian languages gradually merge into each other and are not separated by hard and fast boundaries line. Look at it's Grierson, who was not Indian, who was not born in India, but in his own experience, what he said, most Indian languages gradually merge into each other and are not separated by hard and fast boundary lines. When such boundaries are spoken of or shown on a map, they must always be understood as conventional method of showing definitely a state of thing which is in its essence indefinite. What we think is a definite boundary, it's Grierson who said basically that boundary is indefinite. Although Assamese differs widely from Marathi, and a speaker of one language would be entirely unintelligible to other, the man could almost walk from 2,800 miles. The man can walk. The man can walk from 2,800 miles from Dibrugarh to Mumbai and also to Rajasthan without being able to point to a single stage where he had passed through 8 distinct tongues of Indian continent: Assamese, Bengalis, Odia, Marathi, Gujarati, Sindhi, Lahanda, Khostani. Look at the beauty of this country. He says, we often think that the map which we have produced seems to be definite, but it's not. And if you travel from Dibrugarh to Mumbai, and roughly 2,800 kilometers, and might have crossed the linguistic boundaries. But it would be difficult to say from where we have started and where we have ended. Look at, so what I'm trying to say here is that I think we have to understand our own linguistic ethos or the linguistic habitat, and let's not believe on those imported ideas which have come from the Western world in the 19th century or in the 20th century. We want to be a leader. For the Viksit India, this is very, very important to decolonize our mind and come up with our own. So now, what do we do? The question is, where do we go from here? And that's the question we need to ask very seriously. Can we have alternative worldview? Simple answer is yes, we can have our alternative view. We are not in a mood of confrontation. Let me tell you what I'm saying when I'm talking about decolonizing the mind. I'm not saying we should go for confrontation. What I'm trying to say is that let's overcome from those theoretical barriers and have our own intellectual Swaraj. And once upon a time. Now, when I'm talking about Swaraj, it is a very novel concept, and it has a long history. It was Shivaji who talked about Swaraj, Hindvi Swaraj, but formally in 1906, it was Dadabhai Naoroji in Congress Adhivesan. He talked about basically Swaraj, and he says that, yes, if we need independence, we have to have our own independence in terms of economy. So independence doesn't mean only decolonizing ourselves from any kind of imperial rule, but it also has a deep meaning. And so further, Gandhi also talked about Swaraj. Even Deen Dayal Upadhyay also talked about the concept of Swaraj. Friends, even if we think of Swaraj today, I think we should have a Swaraj of our, what we call the Bodhik Swaraj, the intellectual self-rule, so that we can govern ourselves. But for that, we have to have a courage. We have to have commitment. And are we ready? And if we are ready, so there is no need to go for battle. But what is important is, in this journey, we don't want to offend anyone also. Let's be very neutral in that sense. We don't want to offend someone. But what is important is that, to raise a question. And those questions are, if the fourth major breakthrough which had taken in America in 1950s onwards, that time, USA, America had everything. And political and social conditions were in favor of America, USA. But today, that is not the case. then what do we do? And where do we go from here? And that question has to be asked very seriously. So friends, if we were champion, if we were leaders in the field of linguistics in the 5th century BC and before that, and it continued up to 7th century AD, can we do it now when we are heading towards what we call the Viksit India, Viksit Bharat? And answer is yes. Therefore, we have to be united. And as I told you, we have to change ourselves and form a great India and the society, saying same thing as I told you, sadhu charita subh charita kapasu. Pity, you have a pain also. If there is a suffering in the way, in this journey, we should be ready for that. Why I'm saying this? Because I gave you the metaphor of cotton. It is, the fruit is not full of juice, but the merit is very high. Look at here. Jo sahi dukh parichitra durava bandhani jehi jag jas pawa. Even it can cover the needle, the cotton, the thread of needle can even cover the hole in the needle to protect it. I think if we all come together and follow this, what I'm saying, sadhu charita subh charita kapasu, I think we will be able to make this India great again. And I'm very much sure that we all look forward for this India, which is going to be the Viksit Bharat. But this is a vision for all. It's not only the Department of Language, Culture and Society of SR, or it's not the responsibility of individual SK Singh to do it. We have to come together. We have to come together, and it is a basically vision for all. Scholars, teachers, policymakers, citizens. And that's why this Department of Language, Culture and Society is the right place, right platform to initiate such discourse in the field of language and linguistics. But something which is very important, India can be transformed as a Viksit India. India can be promoted as a Viksit India. India can restore its glory as a Vishwaguru or the, the Viksit India. What we have to do, we have to think together. This is the mantra, again I'm saying this. To think together, to speak together, and to be together. Let me repeat it again. What we need to do, to think together, to speak together, and to be together. Let me tell you, in this journey, which, I'm from Northeast India, you are wherever you are, and we as Indians, we have to think together, speak together, and to be together with this promise. Let's come together and make this Bharat again as Viksit Bharat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity in this endeavor. Yes, yeah. Benny, can you hear? Yeah. So,
Yes, sir.
so yeah.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much, Sir Singh, for the insightful and thought-provoking session. Your perspective actually on linguistic self-determination in connection to NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047 has, in fact, given us powerful ideas to reflect on. So thank you so much for the talk. And to the participants, if they have any questions, the floor is open to questions.
Participants, the floor is open. So if you have any questions, if you're not able to mute, maybe you can even type it here in the chat box.
Yeah, if
the feedback will be posted now for the session, we request you to fill the feedback form.
Is there any questions? I think what we are trying to debate is that diversity, linguistic diversity should not be taken as a weakness. It's basically our strength. Anyone?
There is one question on the chat box. He is saying, can you suggest some research ideas on linguistics?
Oh, okay.
Amisha.
Yeah, who is she? She's a
Amisha
participant.
Amisha Parmar, she is a participant. She's asking, can you suggest some research ideas on linguistics, please?
Yeah, but there are we have talked so much about language families, and we take it as a very, very clear-cut boundary of what called the Indo-Aryan, Dravidian, Austroasiatic, Tipto-Burman, and so on. And if you look at the literature, so can we think of Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar, the Indian language family, in a refreshingly new way, and also the linguistic heritage of India, and talk about the linguistic habitat of India. That could be very interesting, interesting topic of research. And why I'm saying is that some of those ideas or some of those metaphors which have come from somewhere, which do not fit into our context. Even when we think of the notion like language death, or the many Indian languages becoming endangered, those issues have to be debated now, because those metaphors, those biological metaphors which have entered into linguistics, we have to take it seriously. Why I'm saying this? Because some of the languages, they are in use in a different way. So we basically we have to think about the linguistic heritage of this nation, whether it is what language family it belongs to. So what we have to debate now is think about the notion of Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar, Indian language family. Can we do that? I think if we could, but when we are talking about the Indian language family, it's not the nostalgia we have about, basically we need to understand the linguistic heritage in two directions. The one direction which takes us towards the centrifugal forces, and another one which is to be governed by the centripetal forces. What happens in that? If centrifugal forces are in operation, the linguistic divergence takes place, which is basically, divergence, differences, distinct identities. But at the same time, if you look at the pan-Indian linguistic ethos, basically it moves towards the convergence, what you can also call the trans-historical convergence, which is the commonness, cohesiveness, and the commonality. So those issues have to be taken it seriously, and those are the topics which seems to be very fresh to debate. And I think a department like where all of you are working, where Dr. Benny is working, I think they are the real leaders in the field now, and they are the young generation. They have to hire the responsibility to make this nation again as a Viksit India, Viksit Bharat. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. This is Ramya.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, please. Please.
Sir, how do you think this NEP 2020 can reinterpret or reclaim the idea of linguistic freedom and dignity? How can we use this to reclaim our linguistic freedom and identity?
Yeah, that's very important question, and that's the challenge we have. When I said, if you close your eyes and think very seriously, about this NEP 2020, and if you look at all three pillars, so the first pillar itself is transformation, to transform India as indigenous global knowledge hub. But the question is, will it happen without our own language? And the simple answer is no, because your indigenous knowledge is always, is in your indigenous knowledge is always in your own language, which is your mother tongue. Am I right? So unless we strengthen our own mother tongue, you may be speaking Tamil, I may be speaking Kannada, Benny may be speaking her own mother tongue, but unless we strengthen our own mother tongue, it is not possible to think in that sense. Therefore, it is our responsibility to strengthen our own language, to have the original ideas in our indigenous knowledge in the indigenous language. Then only we can think of again transforming India as a great India, or what we call the Viksit Bharat. Therefore, it has not happened in the past. Let me tell you, I will give you the example of two great civilizations. The one great civilization I already talked about when I was talking about the rainbows. He said that we often believe that the science or the other things have come from the Greek, but not linguistics. That means there was one great civilization, the Greek civilization. At the same time, we had a great civilization that was the civilization of Bharat. And if you look at our contribution in the field, let it be in linguistics, literature, and many other things. So, but that we did it in our own language. That was in our own language. There is another question. So I think the question is very important one. I think we need to debate on that. Yeah, but that's the concern we have to come. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions?
There is one more question.
One Lenka.
Please.
which question was that? Well, there was one question I saw.
Yes, sir. Sri Lanka is suffering
No.
due to the politics.
What is
Shall I
that?
read that question, sir?
Yeah, I could not.
Yes.
Mm.
This is by Mr. Dr. J.S. Rohan Savarimuthu. He has asked, Sri Lanka is suffering due to politics based on language ideology, which was started by the West inciting Sinhala with the Aryan syndrome and Tamil with Dravidian. Don't you think, Professor, that the West used linguistics as a tool to divide people and to create an exclusive system? Don't you think this is high time to have developed? I'm yet to conclude. Don't you think this is high time to have developed an inclusive system? If so, can linguistics play a role? Or should we invent a new field of study? For example, philology, the original field, got transformed into linguistics.
Oh, that's fine. This is what I was debating. Yeah, the ideas which we have borrowed, basically, when I was talking about William Jones, and after that, if we look at the whole politics of dividing, the Dravidian and Indo-Aryan coming from outside, and Dravidian, all those views are basically imported. And that is why we need to decolonize our mind, and we have to have our own field, and that is what I was talking about, Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar. Why I'm saying this? Because languages are many. Maybe in India, languages are many, but the so-called, the idea of Indianness is there. Therefore, we have to take up this question very seriously. Why this, if you look at, why I'm saying, bhasaएं अनेक भाव एक, languages are many, but idea, the culture, the thinking, or the social behavior have something very, very unique, and it is common in that sense. And if you look at value, if you how ideas travel across Sanskrit, Tamil, how tribal songs share images with the Vedic hymns, and many other things. So we have to think about those common issues that can positively take us towards what we call the Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar, and which is a perfect example of evolving linguistic diversity within the civilizational linguistic habitat of India. So we have to go back to our own civilization and think of making again the great. So we have to look at our civilizational root. And in that sense, your question becomes very, very important. So, the over-linguistic fragmentation which has taken place in India, that is basically a colonial project, and we have to come out of that. And I'm sure we will come up with such good leaders like you have, and in this institute, and the leaders like, I thank for organizing such event, which is going to be really a path breaking for all of us in the field of linguistics. Yes. Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I have one more question, sir, for you.
Okay, please.
So you're talking about linguistic Swaraj, right? So does it talk more about Swaraj? Yes, this is related to Viksit Bharat, sir. Viksit Bharat 2047. In view of Viksit Bharat 2047, how do we relate this linguistic Swaraj? Can we relate it to something called as identity restoration, or will it deal with some kind of intellectual decolonization?
So that is
Where are we
what-
trying to
that
fix
is-
it? Or is it both? How can we align this with Bharat?
It could be, I was talking about this notion of, Swaraj. It was Dadabhai Nauraji who talked about economic drain, how British are taking the wealth from India, and that we have to stop. But I'm talking about, having our own intellectual Swaraj, which is a Bodhic Swaraj, because unless we have a freedom in terms of thinking or evolving our own idea in our own language, we may not be in position to have the complete Swaraj. So unless the Bodhic Swaraj, which is the wisdom, our own wisdom through our own language, that has to be also achieved together. So it goes side by side. So if India has to become, Dhanvan, which is wealthy, it also has to become Gunvan, which has its own merit. So it should move together. So in a way, you are right that it should go together, not in a different compartments. So that is the challenge before us. That is why I'm talking about Swaraj, which is basically decolonizing of self, from those imported ideas, and we have to come up with our own thinking in our own language. So indigenous languages have to be encouraged and protected, and that should be part of what we call the Bharatiya Bhasha Parivar, Indian language families. So commonness, cohesiveness, and then making this India great again. Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you for that answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarah, for being with us today. We are really grateful to have you as a speaker here. So thank you so much. And I think we will wind up our today's first day session now. And I request the participants to please fill in the feedback form, which is provided in the chat box. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the effort and the team itself, the full of energy. That is something, and that is what we need for Viksit Bharat in 21st century. The kind of responsibility all of you have taken, I'm sure you will move forward, and wish you all the best in future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. We'll meet again at 5:45 for our second session for the day. Thank you.